Welcome to the Silenced History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos. In this ordinary Crimean market scene lies extraordinary tragedy. These Tatar families in 1943 don't know that Stalin's brutal deportation order will tear them from their homeland in just 1 year. You're witnessing the last breath of a vanishing civilization. Italian bombers didn't just target military sites in September 1940 Haifa. They deliberately destroyed the Istiklal Mosque and Muslim cemetery. The black smoke tells a story textbooks ignore: how sacred spaces became war casualties. Easter Sunday 1944 should have been a day of celebration in Belgrade. Instead, families load everything they own onto horse-drawn carts, fleeing their homes forever. What started as a religious holiday became the day an entire community disappeared into exile. This masked figure on a Munich balcony changed Olympic history forever. September 5, 1972. What should have been a celebration of global unity became the Munich massacre. 11 Israeli athletes died while the world watched, turning sports into a battlefield. This disturbing photograph documents one of history's darkest secrets: the fate of Turkish woman Shekibe from Dutluka village. Kidnapped by Greeks and murdered after being used for entertainment in Armenian village Solos. Her dismembered body tells a story of ethnic violence that official histories prefer to forget. Andranik Ozanian sits with his Armenian partisans, freedom fighters to some, terrorists to others. This legendary commander led brutal campaigns against Ottoman forces during World War I. History books rarely mention his methods, only his cause. Towering above his companions at the Battle of Antietam, President Lincoln visits the bloodiest single day in American history. October 1862, just weeks after 23,000 casualties fell on these Maryland fields. His top hat seems almost absurd amid such carnage. "Oh, the humanity!" cried radio reporter Herbert Morrison as the Hindenburg exploded in 1937. Sam Scher captured the exact moment luxury air travel died forever. 36 people perished in just 34 seconds, ending the golden age of passenger airships. Lieutenant Charles Levy captured humanity's darkest achievement: the mushroom cloud over Nagasaki, August 9, 1945. This single photograph ended World War II but began the nuclear age. 70,000 people died instantly beneath this beautiful, terrifying cloud of atomic fire. The hooded figure at Abu Ghraib became the face of American torture in Iraq. Ali Shalal al-Qaisi stood on that box in 2003, wired and terrorized by CIA interrogators. This single photograph destroyed America's moral authority and exposed the darkness behind freedom. In this haunting scene by Pentti Samalati, a man mourns beside a makeshift cross while others, having remembered their loved ones, walk away in the background. The desolate landscape tells of mass tragedy, perhaps famine, war, or disease, claiming countless lives. This ghostly imprint on HMS Sussex shows where a Japanese kamikaze pilot crashed on July 26, 1945. The plane's silhouette burned into the ship's hull like a shadow, preserving the final moment of desperate warfare in the Pacific's dying days. These skeletal figures at Ebensee concentration camp in 1945 show humanity's darkest chapter. Starved prisoners died at 2,000 per week in this Austrian hell designed for scientific experiments. Their hollow eyes witness unspeakable evil that must never be forgotten or repeated. Filipinos were displayed like zoo animals at Coney Island's Dreamland in the early 1900s, sitting in loincloths while crowds gawked from behind barriers. These human zoos spread across America and Europe, turning racism into profitable entertainment for civilized spectators. Today, in 1994, the Iranian-backed Hezbollah terrorist organization committed a suicide bombing targeting a Jewish community center in Argentina. 86 were murdered, with over 300 others injured. This day, in 1997, two Palestinian Hamas suicide bombers committed a terror attack in Mahane Yehuda Market in Jerusalem. They were disguised as ultra-Orthodox Jews and held bags filled with nails and explosives. 16 people were murdered, with 178 others injured. A royal moment frozen in time. Young Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip waved from their ship in 1957, with Lady Liberty watching silently. This was America still embracing British royalty, before decades of independence would change everything between nations. The king of rock and roll reduced to just another soldier. Elvis Presley sits in Fort Chaffee's cafeteria in 1958. His famous pompadour buzzed short, eating military rations like any other recruit. Fame meant nothing to Uncle Sam's draft board. Behind closed doors at Sinatra's private gathering in 1961, Hollywood's biggest secrets were shared. Marilyn Monroe leans in as Frank shows his personal photos. Moments before her mysterious death, and decades before the world learned their rumored affair. 15-year-old Elizabeth Eckford walks alone through a screaming mob at Little Rock Central High School, 1957. Courage battles terror as angry crowds shout, 2468, we don't want to integrate. One girl's walk changed American history forever. Neil Armstrong captured Buzz Aldrin taking humanity's most expensive steps on July 20th, 1969. This $25 billion footprint on lunar dust proved America could win the space race, but conspiracy theorists still claim it was filmed in a Hollywood studio. Mark Twain experiments with electricity in Nikola Tesla's laboratory, 1894. The famous writer frequently volunteered as Tesla's test subject, experiencing dangerous electrical currents for science. This partnership between literature and invention shows how curiosity could literally be electrifying. Einstein poses with staged Native Americans at Grand Canyon's tourist trap in 1931. The feathered headdress and pipe weren't even Hopi, they belonged to Plains tribes. This fabricated photo op shows how even scientific genius couldn't escape America's cultural appropriation entertainment industry. Archaeologist Gabriel Gustafsson and his team unearthed the magnificent Oseberg Viking ship in 1904 Norway. This 1,000-year-old burial vessel contained 2 women, sacrificed animals, and priceless artifacts. Their careful excavation revealed how Viking queens were honored in death. Harry Burton captured the historic moment in 1923 when archaeologists opened Tutankhamun's 4th burial shrine. Behind those golden doors with protective goddesses lay the Boy King sarcophagus, untouched for over 3,000 years. This photograph froze humanity's greatest archaeological discovery forever. Before Hollywood invented movie monsters, theater created real nightmares. Maria Germanova's Witch in the Bluebird at Moscow Art Theater, 1908, terrified audiences with elaborate costume and haunting makeup that seems supernatural even today. Dick Smith's makeup artistry turned aging into horror for The Picture of Dorian Gray in 1961. These 10 stages of decay show how television brought gothic nightmares into American living rooms, making viewers question what lurked behind their own mirrors. This terrifying wobe mask from Ivory Coast wasn't meant for entertainment. It was used in sacred rituals to communicate with spirits. The hollow tubes and fierce expression were designed to frighten away evil forces and protect the community. Science fiction became reality in this 1919 British film, First Men on the Moon. The alien costumes and elaborate set design show how early cinema imagined extraterrestrial life decades before space travel. Pure imagination creating tomorrow's nightmares today. French photographer Louis Boutin made history with the first underwater portrait in 1899. Using a waterproof camera and magnesium flash, he captured this ghostly figure beneath the waves. This pioneering moment opened an entirely new realm for photography. Hundreds of Bawah Matalawo villagers drag a massive megalith in 1915 Indonesia, continuing ancient traditions that built civilizations. Using only ropes and human power, they moved these enormous stones to create monuments that would outlast empires. Pure determination carved in stone. Archaeologists carefully excavate the haunting plaster casts of Pompeii victims in 1961. Using Giuseppe Fiorelli's technique, these hollow spaces in volcanic ash became eternal monuments to human tragedy. Each cast preserves a person's final, terrified moments from 79 AD. Lady Florence Norman rides her autoped motor scooter to work in London, 1916. This early electric scooter was marketed specifically to women as convenient city transport. Her elegant dress and determined expression show how suffragists embraced technology for independence. Young girls practice stilt walking in Beijing, 1934, preparing for traditional Chinese opera performances. These elevated shoes trained performers for comic and martial arts roles in classical theater. Ancient performance arts required years of dangerous practice starting in childhood. Commercial aviation's humble beginnings featured wicker chairs and fabric walls in 1930. This Imperial Airways cabin shows how air travel was more like flying furniture than luxury transport. Passengers endured bumpy rides in glorified baskets suspended thousands of feet high. Hundreds of gas mask-wearing students marched through Tokyo in the 1930s like an army of insects. This chilling civil defense drill prepared Japanese civilians for chemical warfare, foreshadowing the horrific conflicts that would soon engulf the Pacific. This trapper boy worked 1 mile underground in West Virginia coal mines, 1908. Children as young as 8 operated dangerous machinery in pitch-black tunnels for 12 hours daily. His headlamp reveals a childhood stolen by industrial greed and family desperation. Christmas in Bethlehem, 1906. Thousands gather peacefully around the Church of Nativity. This sacred celebration shows a time when pilgrims from every faith walked these ancient streets without checkpoints, walls, or fear. A vanished world of unity. In the haunting silence of 1940, a nun keeps vigil over rows of orphaned children. Her white habit glows like a guardian angel in the darkness, watching over souls abandoned by war, poverty, and death's relentless appetite. This prosthetic leg from Latvia's Medical History Museum tells a darker story than textbooks reveal. Crude metal and leather contraptions like this were all amputees had after wars and medical disasters. Progress came slowly for those society preferred to forget. Stephen Shames captured America's hidden shame. A child sleeping on fire escape stairs, homeless and forgotten. This powerful image from his Youth Poverty series exposed how the richest nation on earth abandoned its most vulnerable citizens. Dorothea Lange's migrant mother became the face of America's Great Depression in 1936. Florence Owens Thompson, a Cherokee woman, struggled to feed 6 children as a farm worker. This single photograph moved the government to send emergency food aid to her camp. Pure joy radiates from this Iranian woman during the 1979 revolution, holding the Shah's banknote that once symbolized oppression. Abbas Attar captured the moment when millions believed they were trading dictatorship for freedom. Few knew another authoritarian regime awaited them. Antanas Sutkus captured this haunting portrait of a blind pioneer in Soviet Lithuania, 1962. Behind those empty eyes lies a story of survival through war, occupation, and suffering. His formal dress suggests dignity maintained despite losing everything, including sight. These unwrapped mummies from 1941 reveal ancient Egyptian preservation techniques in disturbing detail. After 3,000 years, dried flesh still clings to bone, showing how effectively embalmers could cheat death. Modern science finally unlocked secrets the pharaohs took to their graves. This unsettling couple at a Mexican fair in 1940 seems straight from a nightmare. The man's shadowed face and woman's bandaged head with crown of thorns suggest this wasn't just entertainment, perhaps a religious ritual or macabre performance art. This desperate man's sign from 1932 reveals Depression-era desperation in raw terms. Wanted urgently, a strong rope to hang myself, alternatively unfurnished accommodation for my wife, unborn child, and myself. Economic collapse pushed families to unthinkable choices between survival and surrender. Maori warriors performed the fearsome Haka war dance in the Egyptian desert during World War II. Their fierce expressions and synchronized movements struck terror into enemy hearts while boosting Allied morale. Ancient warrior traditions met modern warfare perfectly. This terrifying Sam masked dancer in Mongolia, 1925, channels ancient spirits through ritual performance. The horned demon mask, adorned with skulls and flowing robes, was meant to frighten away evil forces and protect the community from supernatural threats. An Eskimo medicine man performs ancient healing rituals on a sick boy in early 1900s Alaska. His elaborate mask and ceremonial costume were believed to drive away evil spirits causing illness. Traditional shamanic medicine met modern photography in this haunting Arctic encounter. These Ainu people from northern Japan represent a vanishing culture captured at the 20th century's dawn. Their traditional dress and ceremonial items preserve ancient customs that forced assimilation would soon erase. Today, their language is extinct, silenced forever by imperial policies. This monk balances on two chains high above Yunnan-Si Temple in China, 1930. One chain serves as footpath, the other as handrail, leading to the Clifftop Sutra Library. Faith and courage combined in this death-defying daily commute to wisdom. These breaker boys worked 10-hour days picking slate from coal with bare hands in 1911. Lewis Hines' photograph exposed the brutal reality of child labor in America's mines. Their exhausted faces show childhood stolen by industrial greed and family desperation. Painters dangle from Brooklyn bridge cables in 1914 with zero safety equipment, photographed by Eugene de Salignac. Over 20 workers died building this engineering marvel, falling, crushed by debris, or from caisson disease. Death was just another construction cost. These radium girls painted watch dials with radioactive paint in 1922, licking brushes to create fine points. Their employers knew the dangers but stayed silent as workers developed jaw rot, anemia, and cancer. Corporate greed literally glowed in the dark. What started as childhood excitement became America's deadliest circus disaster. June 22, 1918, Hammond, Indiana. 86 performers died when their sleeping car was crushed by an empty troop train. Children waiting for the circus found twisted metal instead of magic. Beauty pageants took a bizarre turn in 1970 with the Miss American Vampire contest. This Gothic crown ceremony shows how counterculture movements infiltrated mainstream America, turning traditional feminine ideals completely upside down. Big Brother is watching from above in this Nevada casino. The security guard stands on a hidden platform, monitoring every card dealt and dollar bet below. In Las Vegas, paranoia isn't a feeling, it's standard operating procedure. Women and children huddle in makeshift shelters during Spain's brutal civil war. Armed with rifles, these mothers became fighters by necessity, not choice. Between 1936 to 1939, families were torn apart by ideology while Europe ignored the rehearsal for World War II. Found in someone's grandmother's photo album, this disturbing image from the early 1900s shows figures in what appears to be blackface makeup. Without context, we can only wonder what kind of entertainment or social gathering this represents from America's shameful past. What started as college fun turned into battlefield carnage at Princeton in 1892. These battered students show the aftermath of the infamous freshman-sophomore snowball fight that left dozens injured. Their swollen faces reveal how harmless campus traditions could become brutal warfare. Jack Bonavita poses fearlessly with 13 lions in his famous armchair act, commanding deadly predators to sit calmly around him. This circus daredevil eventually switched to polar bears, a decision that cost him his life in the ring. These eerily realistic dummy heads fooled Alcatraz guards during history's most famous prison escape in 1962. Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers crafted them from toilet paper, soap, and concrete dust, complete with real human hair. Their masterpiece bought precious hours of freedom. When peaceful protests turned violent in Derry, 1969, boxer Mickey Dehan became a folk hero. This single frame captures him trading punches with RUC officers during the Battle of the Bogside. 3 policemen hit the ground that day. "Imagine looking pretty in a gas mask," screamed this 1940s fashion advertisement. While London burned under Nazi bombs, companies tried selling beauty during the Blitz. Nothing says glamour like preparing for chemical warfare while doing your makeup. Brothers who once fought side by side against the British now walk as enemies. This captured IRA fighter in 1922 represents Ireland's heartbreaking civil war, when independence wasn't enough, and former allies shed each other's blood over treaty terms. Death becomes a teaching tool at this Canadian General Hospital, 1916 to 1919. Medical staff pose with a skeleton during World War I, when anatomy lessons mixed with dark humor helped doctors cope with endless streams of wounded soldiers, learning from the dead to save the living. Draped in ancient ceremonial robes, this Mongolian noblewoman from 1921 represents the last breath of imperial tradition. Mistakenly identified as Queen Genepil for decades, her true identity remains lost to history, like so many forgotten royal bloodlines. A Korean girl carries her baby brother past a stalled American tank in 1951, their faces etched with exhaustion and loss. This haunting image captures the Korean War's forgotten victims, millions of civilians caught between superpowers playing their deadly Cold War games. Found hanging in a hospital basement, this eerie photograph shows nuns and staff posing outside their institution decades ago. The formal arrangement and stark building suggest this was once an asylum or sanitarium, where dark medical practices hid behind religious facades. Finnish soldier Raja Jovna poses with his reindeer during the Lapland War against Nazi Germany, 1944. These Arctic warriors used reindeer to haul supplies through frozen wilderness, fighting the Germans who refused to leave Finland after switching sides in World War II. Every image you've seen today carries secrets that textbooks overlooked and history forgot to mention. If you're fascinated by the untold stories behind familiar faces and forgotten moments, hit subscribe and join us every week as we reveal the hidden narratives captured in history's most powerful photographs. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like this video.